Back up, they're going that way. They're going that way, guys. You guys gotta back up.
Terence Crawford and Dant Davis had a surprising encounter yesterday, especially considering their heated exchange on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. Let's just say their meeting seemed destined to go beyond the verbal jabs they traded online. The drama unfolded as Terence Crawford was returning from the Ring Magazine Awards in London. Meanwhile, Dant Davis, who had been away from his training camp recently, was attending a meeting abroad before planning to resume training once he returned to the U.S. Fate brought Terence Crawford and Dant "Tank" Davis face-to-face, creating the perfect setup for chaos to unfold. Davis was the first to spot Crawford, and instead of keeping to himself, he decided to confront the former undisputed welterweight champion. Approaching Crawford, Davis questioned the reason behind their online feud. Unbothered, Crawford responded with a few dismissive words before walking away. Davis, however, wasn't done and continued shouting until Crawford's team stepped in, pulling the pound-for-pound king away from the scene. Things seem to be heating up between Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis. While fans eagerly anticipate a potential Crawford versus Canelo showdown, we might also need to brace for more between Crawford and Davis. Whether it's a street brawl, a boxing match, or something else entirely, it's clear their feud isn't over yet. This clash appears to have stemmed from events at the Ring Magazine Awards in London on Saturday, where Gervonta Davis made his presence known rather than being one of the absentees. Boxing's biggest stars gathered in London for the Ring Magazine Awards, but a few notable names were absent, with Dant "Tank" Davis being the most prominent. The ceremony celebrated today's top boxers, yet Davis, despite his unbeaten record of 30 wins with 28 knockouts and plans to retire in 2025, didn't make the guest list. Speculation suggests his exclusion might stem from his strained relationship with Riyadh Season and Sheikh Turki Al-Sheikh, who also owns the Ring magazine. Unsurprisingly, the lightweight champion wasn't happy about being left out, feeling deliberately excluded from the prestigious event. Davis made several posts on his X account, which he later deleted. However, Terence Crawford seized the opportunity to mock him, sparking a dispute on social media that continued through Tuesday. Davis quickly followed up with a series of deleted posts, criticizing both the event organizers and the attendees. While Davis's absence from the Ring Awards remains unclear, it's apparent he's not on the best terms with the Riyadh Season team. Despite the uncertainty surrounding his absence, Davis did receive a response, one from none other than Terence Crawford. The two champions have been at odds for a while, exchanging insults and taunts. Recent reports suggest that Crawford, who recently met with Sheikh Turki Al-Sheikh, may be gearing up for a massive showdown with Canelo Alvarez later this year. Taking a jab at Davis, Crawford posted a loud laugh and said, "I see somebody mad they weren't invited to the Ring Magazine Gala. I remember being left out, that's why when they let me in, I crashed the party," adding some mocking emojis. His post was a direct response to the deleted posts from Gervonta Davis, though some were saved by users. To understand why Crawford responded with a taunt, we need to take a closer look at the posts Davis shared. Although the posts were eventually deleted, several publications managed to capture and report on them. In one of his posts, Davis questioned, "Why didn't they invite everybody?" He then added, "But they invited people they deal with. Get out of here. Stop them eating," seemingly directing his comments at Eddie Hearn. Davis went on, "Look at that little rat thinking he came up on something. Now tell them all to fight each other since they have a heavy roster." Davis didn't stop there, and also had words for Sheikh Turki Al-Sheikh, first suggesting they use the opportunity to fight among the guests. He then criticized the Sheik, claiming he didn't know anything about boxing. In another deleted message from his X account, Davis appeared to target the head of Riyadh season, expressing frustration with the way he's being portrayed in the boxing world. Davis wrote, "They want to act like this guy is good for boxing when he's not good at anything. If he was, why isn't he building up the fighters from his own area? This guy knows nothing about boxing, and yet they're turning to him." Davis's words seemed to challenge the credibility of the figure, questioning why someone with no apparent boxing knowledge was being given so much influence. Davis then went on a rant, criticizing how many fighters, unlike himself, are willing to leave American shores to make money, only to find themselves fighting in front of barely noticeable crowds. The back and forth between Davis and Crawford continued through Tuesday, likely fueled by Davis bragging to Crawford about his wealth. Davis didn't take kindly to Crawford's response and, in more deleted posts, fired back, calling out Bud Crawford over his earnings. "I still make more than you," Davis posted, continuing his tirade. "Y'all think he's chasing greatness, but he's not. That's just what he has to do to make decent money. The first thing a rich fool tells another rich fool is, 'I have more money than you. I bet I have more investments than you, and I don't owe $1 in taxes. You can't buy anything that I can't buy, and that's a fact. Let's see who has the longest-lasting money. Smart boy.'" In response, Crawford fired back, telling Davis not to complain, while throwing in a few insults. Fans might find it interesting that last year, during the press conference for the Lamont Roach fight, Davis shocked everyone by announcing that he would retire from boxing by the end of 2025. If that's the case, many followers might wonder why Davis would even care about such formalities, like not receiving an invitation. However, this isn't the first time Terence Crawford has taken a dig at the Baltimore native. Shortly after Crawford defeated Errol Spence Jr. and became an undisputed champion, the Nebraska southpaw caught wind of Gervonta Davis claiming he could beat him at 147 pounds. Speaking on The Breakfast Club, an unfazed Terence Crawford acknowledged Gervonta Davis's skill in the ring, but also pointed out that there are levels in boxing. Crawford downplayed the banner, stating that if Davis thinks he can just step up to 147 pounds and knock him out, he's got another thing coming. While a clash between the two American boxing icons may never happen, for Crawford, there's only one fight that matters right now, the one against Canelo Alvarez.
Gave a little prediction on the fight, talked about Errol has a metal shield and you have a glass shield. Talk about the punch resistance. What do you think of Tank's assessment, man?
Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis are currently 3 weight divisions apart, though they have competed in the same classes in the past. Crawford began his career at lightweight, where Davis currently holds a world title. Crawford went on to become undisputed at super lightweight, a division where Davis has also claimed a belt. Crawford has since moved up, clearing out the welterweight division before making his debut at 154 pounds last year. Meanwhile, Davis remains at lightweight, holding the WBA world title and knocking out all challengers. The hard-hitting fighter from Baltimore has claimed in the past that he could knock Crawford out, perhaps in jest, but the bigger man has warned Davis not to punch above his weight.
I mean, you came up from 35, right?
He ain't fighting no real guys at 47.
See, okay. What about, everyone's talking about Errol fight.
While the fight is highly unlikely to happen, some believe it wouldn't be a clear outcome. In an interview with Real Life Productions, multi-division world champion Roy Jones Jr. said, "That's a good damn fight," clearly thinking it would be a competitive bout if the two met just below the welterweight limit. He gave Davis a solid chance, pointing out, "I don't see anybody around that's going to beat Bud unless it's somebody way bigger than him. But don't sleep on the fact that if he and Tank fought at about 145, that's a good damn fight. You understand me?
But Crawford, on the other hand, I don't see nobody around that's gonna beat Bud unless somebody way bigger than him. But don't sleep on the fact that
both fighters have very high boxing IQs, and Davis is especially known for his explosiveness. According to Roy Jones Jr., that's one thing Tank has that Errol Spence didn't: explosive power. An explosive fighter can go a long way, and Jones credits his own success to that attribute, saying, "Explosiveness keeps people in check." While the two Americans continue their separate paths, Crawford is eyeing a fight against super middleweight champion Saul Canelo Alvarez, which would require a 14-pound jump. Meanwhile, Davis will face Lamont Roach Jr. in March, before, as stated in his latest press conference, retiring at the end of the year. Davis's fans can look forward to his upcoming fight with Roach, scheduled for March 1st at the Barclays Center.
if him and Tank fought at about 145, that's a good daggone fight. You understand me? Matter of fact, I'm saying that's a good damn fight. You understand me? Because they both have very high IQs, and Tank is very explosive. See, that's the one thing Tank.
While the fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez seems to be on the horizon, Gervonta Davis has now inserted himself into the conversation. Crawford and Canelo are reportedly close to finalizing a deal for their highly anticipated mega fight this year, bringing together two of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. The fight is believed to have been set up after both Crawford and Canelo met separately with Saudi chief Turki al-Sheikh in London over the weekend, following a year of discussions about whether the fight would actually happen. While most boxing fans are excited about the prospect of seeing Crawford and Canelo face off, it seems another of the sport's biggest stars isn't as impressed.
Work, I heard him say, I'm easy work. If I was easy work, well, you would take all that money that he's offering you.
While Gervonta Davis seems uninterested in the Crawford versus Canelo fight, his coach, Calvin Ford, has also weighed in on the matchup. The debate over who would win between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford continues to spark discussion. This fight would be one of the biggest in boxing, bringing together two pound-for-pound greats, although it would require Crawford to make a significant weight jump. When speaking with Fight Hype, Calvin Ford shared his thoughts on the potential showdown and appeared to lean towards Canelo, suggesting the Mexican fighter could have the edge in the matchup.
Terence Crawford, Canelo situation, do you think that's a fight where they could get to a weight that makes sense? Do you think that the weight would affect Terence Crawford?
Canelo's the king. Whatever he say,
Canelo is the king, whatever he says, Calvin Ford stated. Canelo is the king. It's a good fight, and I'd love to see it and see how it plays out. Ford praised Canelo's recent performances, acknowledging the Mexican champ's strong moves in his career. He also discussed Crawford's performance in his last outing, where he moved up to 154 pounds to face Israel Madrimov, but was unable to get the stoppage. It was his first fight at that weight. You can't say he didn't carry his power up there. He had to make adjustments, Ford explained. He compared Crawford's situation to David Benavidez moving up in weight, emphasizing the importance of making adjustments. I hope Crawford can get another fight at that weight so he can show the world it's there. If it's not, then we can start questioning.
the fight, I like to see that fight, the outcome of it, you know what I'm saying? And then watching Canelo been making some good moves, as far as fights and whatnot,
Ford wrapped up by explaining why he believes Crawford is pursuing a fight with Canelo. Terence is a bad boy. He's moving up because he wants that fight. He isn't getting any younger, and he's doing everything he needs to do to solidify his legacy. While Crawford is focused on securing the showdown with Canelo, he's also been embroiled in a war of words with Teofimo Lopez. Their feud has intensified recently, with a fresh spat taking place on social media.
At 147, how does a fight with you and Terence Crawford look? 147?
Over the past 2 years, Crawford made a strong case for being the top pound-for-pound boxer when he dominated Errol Spence Jr. in their super fight at 147 pounds. Davis, who fights at 135 pounds, was asked how he would fare against Crawford at 147 pounds. Tank confidently responded, "At 147, he's going to sleep. He ain't got no chance. I got round 6. Crawford, however, brushed off Davis's comments, stating, "Tank is in his weight class for a reason. and I don't see him coming up to 147 to face me anytime soon. Crawford also touched on the possibility of facing Davis during a recent appearance on The Breakfast Club, a popular morning radio show on New York's Power 105.1 FM.
Man, everybody say, what they'll do, but Tank is in his weight class for a reason, and I don't see him come up to 147 to face me no time soon.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Tank.
He's just talking. Crawford told co-hosts Charlemagne the God and DJ Envy. He's got that confidence in himself because he's been knocking out all these fighters he's been in the ring with. So, no knock to Tank, but there are definitely levels. If he comes up to 147 thinking he's just going to knock me out, he's got another thing coming.
Confidence in himself that he believes that he can do that because he's been knocking all these fighters out that he's been in the ring with.
At 30 years old, Davis has competed as high as junior welterweight, the same division where Crawford became a fully unified champion. In that division, the Southpaw Davis dropped former WBA World Super Lightweight Champion Mario Barrios 3 times during their bout. Davis went on to defeat Barrios by 11th round technical knockout in June 2021 at State Farm Arena in Atlanta.
So, no knock to Tank, but there's definitely levels, and if you come up to 147.
In his most recent fight, Davis scored a devastating knockout against rival Frank Martin in the 8th round of a 12-round non-title bout, which took place at a contracted catch weight of 136 pounds. Crawford, at 37, has also been dominant in the welterweight division, defeating all 8 of his opponents by knockout or technical knockout since he moved up from the 140 pounds division 5 years ago. He relinquished his IBF, WBA, WBC, and WBO titles to make the jump to 147 pounds.
He's thinking he's just going to knock Terence Crawford out. Got another thing coming.
So that's a fight you would make happen? If he wanted to come up to 147?
Yeah.
Crawford sent Spence to the canvas for the first time in Spence's 10-year pro career during the 2nd round and added 2 more knockdowns in the 7th round, eventually securing a 9th round technical knockout victory. Crawford argued that he wouldn't receive full credit for defeating Davis because their high-profile fight would require Davis to move up 2 weight classes.
147 for him, that's a big money.
That's a big fight, yeah.
It's a big money fight, yeah.
So Spence.
But then what? Everybody knows.
Crawford acknowledged that the purse would be big enough to make him take the fight if it were offered. Yeah, I'll stay at 147 for him because that's a big money fight, said Crawford, who is also a former WBO lightweight champion. It's a big money fight, But then what's everyone going to say? They'll say he was too small. Nobody's going to give me credit. They'll say, oh, you beat up a little guy who fights at 135. Tank's like 5 feet 5 inches. He's a little guy. He can punch, but in his weight class. Not saying he can't punch in any weight class, because we've seen that. But what kind of recognition am I going to get for beating up on Tank? A lot of people don't understand that 135 and 147 is a big jump. That's almost 20 pounds. Well, 12 pounds, That's a big jump.
Chan, he going to sleep.
I already know. I already know he
ain't
is.
got no chance.
I already know he is.
He said no chance.
However, Alexander Usyk, the undisputed heavyweight champion, threw his support behind Terence Crawford in the highly anticipated potential bout against Saul Canelo Alvarez, which could take place either at the end of this year or in early 2025. In a conversation with the 3KR podcast, Usyk praised Crawford's bold move to jump up 3 weight classes to challenge Canelo, while also highlighting Crawford's exceptional intelligence and versatility in the ring.
But there's talk of a potential fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford. How do you see that fight? Who do you like?
Terence.
Wow.
Friend, but it's crazy man.
Terence is my friend, but he's a crazy man, Usyk said. I say Terence wins. Listen, Terence is a different man. He works in 2 stances, and he's a very, very, very smart man. Meanwhile, Turkey Alec has been working tirelessly to finalize the much-anticipated clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford.
I say Terence win. Yes.
What? Terence win over Canelo?
Yes, Terence win. But listen, Terence, different man.
The plan is to stage the fight in the United States, either late this year or at the beginning of 2025, aiming to deliver the high-stakes matchup that boxing fans are eager for. Canelo has said he would consider the fight if the financial terms are right. While some boxing experts believe Crawford will face major challenges due to the weight class jump, others argue that his technical skills and ring IQ will allow him to overcome Canelo, even on the Mexican's home turf. After his victory over Errol Spence Jr., Crawford expressed his ambition to challenge Canelo for the undisputed super middleweight title.
Terence work in two sides. Two sides.
Right.
And
switch
hitter.
Yes.
He's a
Yes.
switch hitter.
Yes.
After becoming the undisputed welterweight champion, Terence Crawford claimed he was willing to move up 3 weight classes to super middleweight for a mega fight with Canelo Alvarez. Crawford had previously considered the idea of making a fight work at a catchweight of either 158 or 160 pounds, but these suggestions were immediately shut down by Alvarez. And that's all for now. For the latest updates on news, moments, events, and action in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you're the first to know when we drop quality content like this. Until next time, peace out